Hi, let's get started with the STM32 board. So this one which I have available here with me is an STM32 Nucleo board. Now the benefit of using Nucleo board as compared to a blue pill or even a black pill, which are much cheaper, is that Nucleo board is worry free, tension free. You don't have to worry about anything. It has got an official ST-Link programmer right on the board itself, so you don't have to worry with struggling with these kind of cheap ST-Link clones or ST-Link programmers. So I strongly recommend using the official Nucleo board. It doesn't matter which one you grab. As long as it has an STM32 board, you can start learning and experimenting with STM32. So this one right here which I have is a Nucleo-F103RB board. So this hosts an Nucleo STM32F103 series microcontroller, and let's see in this video how you can get started with writing your first code on STM32. Now this is a different thing as compared to an Arduino or any other microcontroller that you probably might have used, because it's a quite complex ARM based architecture, and ST Microelectronics has handled programming this microcontroller much differently. Let's see what is that in this video. So starting over, I think you have already have a slight idea about what is STM32. At present, it holds more than 30% of market share in the microcontrollers world, and it's one of the most popular one used for any kind of commercial embedded systems development. It's a 32-bit processor with 1000 plus variants, and the one that we have, F103, has a maximum clock of 72 megahertz. Now, these are some of the details related to this microcontroller. What is most important to us is, although this board looks like an Arduino form factor board, it has got double pins. So if you can see here, so this is not like Arduino, which is limited to 15 or 14 IO pins. This microcontroller has got 51 IO pins available, and you can use many of those pins directly from this interface over here. As said, the maximum frequency is 72 megahertz. The RAM is 20 KB. There is an on-chip LED for experimentation as well, and the flash memory is 128 kilobytes. The operating voltage of the microcontroller is 3.3 volt, but the pins are also 5 volt tolerant, meaning you can directly interface them with any 5 volt sensor like ultrasonic sensor or any other sensor that is working on 5 volt or gives 5 volt as a logic signal. Now, as I was saying, the biggest benefit of using Nucleo board is having an ST-Link programmer. Now, if you don't know about ST-Link, that's completely fine. Just understand that this is a dedicated circuitry which is used to download the program from our computer into the flash memory of microcontroller. With the case of the other boards like Arduinos, you have a bootloader operating. In the case of microcontrollers, you almost always have to use an external programmer. This kind of programmers also act as a live debugger, meaning you can step through your program directly on your hardware through the IDE itself. With Nucleo board, this one is taken care of directly. If you are using a blue pill, which is a cheaper clone or cheaper board available, or a black pill, then all you have to do is you have to fight a little bit with this programmer, make the connections between these two, and then you can use it the same way. But if you are a beginner, I strongly recommend go for Nucleo board. Now, the next thing to understand, and this is a little confusing because previously, up until last year or 2025, even early 2026, I don't exactly remember that. These two softwares which are used to program the microcontroller used to be coming in a single package, the STM32 CubeMX and STM32CubeIDE. From the version, that is version 2.0 and onwards, both of these tools are separate two different entities. It doesn't matter whether you are operating or whether you are working on a Windows computer or a Mac. I'm working on Mac right now. We have to download these two utilities separately, install the required drivers that comes along with it, and then we can start using the IDE, or we can start doing the programs for STM32. Why these two different IDEs? There is a reason for that. The CubeMX is basically a program generator. What happens in CubeMX is you can directly look into the IC, look into the different functions of each pin, and then you can select any one of those functions to be used. So you basically configure the IC over here. You can configure every pin, whether you want to use it as input, whether you want to use it as output, whether you want to use it as a multiplexed function like I2C, SPI, or any other analog input, digital input, these kind of things. You do that over here, and then it also creates a complete hardware abstraction layer code for the project, which then you can open in STM32CubeIDE and then continue with your programming. I'll explain a bit more about it next. So this is something which I referred just now, HAL or Hardware Abstraction Layer. Now what is HAL? If you have used any other microcontroller programming before in past, for example 8051 or AVR series or PIC series controllers or the other LPC series ARM controllers like LPC2148s, you might know that in these programmers or in these IDEs for these microcontrollers, we can directly write, or we are required to directly write programs specific to the internal registers. You have to write DDR registers in AVR, you have to write the data direction registers as well as the port registers, and you can read from pin register when you're using AVR controllers. Likewise, there are different registers with each microcontroller. What ST has done, because they have 1,000+ variants and because they wanted to approach embedded systems development in a different way, they have created something called as a hardware abstraction layer. And what happens with hardware abstraction layer is you never write register specific code on ST microcontrollers. This is one of the primary reason why it is so popular, because any other complex or any other performance oriented microcontrollers like ARM Cortex series or Cortex M1, M2, M3 series controllers, if you take from any other manufacturer, you have to do all the register level coding. Here you do not have to do that, yet you can use all the features of the microcontroller easily using these HAL functions. So it's basically a custom library, something like Arduino, what Arduino has done, but Arduino is a very simplified version of this. What ST Microelectronics has done is they have created a complete abstraction layer or HAL functions using which you can configure each and every piece of your microcontroller, each and every feature, each and every peripheral of this microcontroller, and yet your code remains completely portable. You can use the same logic, in fact you can use the same code as well to other microcontrollers or other microcontrollers in the series of STM32. How it functions, how it works, it's much better to look at it when we experiment with it rather than I explaining about it. Now with this, at first you may feel, you may sometimes feel that these functions are making your life a little miserable as compared to a conventional controller coding, because you are neither understanding the internal registers nor you are having a complete Arduino like abstraction. But please bear with me over here and you will understand it properly. So there are different HAL functions like write pin, toggle pin, HAL delay, HAL read pin, HAL INIT, UART transmit, ADC start or ADC get value, things like that. I have just given very simple 4-6 examples for you to get an idea of what these functions are. When we experiment with each of these modules, you will get to the bottom of it, you will get to understand what each function does, and then you can start understanding them a bit more in detail. For now, let's start creating a simple project for this board. Let me connect it to my computer. You will see an LED blinking. I had created an experiment onto that, but we are going to repeat everything again. So I'll skip this presentation for now, and the first thing you need to do is open CubeMX. When you open CubeMX, this front end will come up in front of you. Let me maximize it. You can start your project from a microcontroller IC or microcontroller unit or MCU, or you can start your project from ST board. Since we have an official ST board, I would be selecting access to board selector. Now when you click the access to board selector, a pop-up will open up where you can type in over here your board number. So let me type in here NUCLEO hyphen F103RB. Once you select this, or whenever you type it over here, you will see the target boards in this list right here. All you need to do is simply select this board. You will see the features over here in itself. Double click that and it will start a project. The first message that pops up is initialize all board peripherals with their default mode. Let's click yes to this. Now as you see, the microcontroller IC STM32F103RB has come up. It's the same one as this LQFP64, and then you will see some of the pins already are configured because it's a board recognition. Now I'll show you one more pin. Let's say PA8. So if I click it with mouse, I get a lot of different options. How you want to use PA8 as? You want to use it in reset state, or you want to use it as GPIO input, or you want to use it at GPIO output. You can do these configurations over here. Let me make it GPIO output for the sake. You can also do one more thing here. After you create a pin as input or output, right click that and then you can also enter a user label which can be directly accessed into your program. Because we may have relay 1, relay 2, relay 3, switch 1, switch 2, or LED 1 to LED 2, LED 3, LED 8. You can give any such numbering directly over here in this configuration. The next section over here is clock configuration. I will not go into the details of this right now. I have a separate video explaining the configuration. Since you have used a board, you don't have to worry about this at all. Simply go to pinout, look everything is correct, and then all you need to do is click on generate code right over here. It's currently hidden behind this camera, but you can sense it. Once you click on the generate code, this window will open up. Now what you have to do over here is select your STM32 CubeIDE's workspace. When you create the CubeIDE first time, it asks you to create a workspace. It's nothing but a folder on your computer. The important thing to understand here is select this toolchain or IDE as STM32 CubeIDE. We are not using EW ARM or embedded workbench or kill or any other thing. We are using STM32 CubeIDE. And then give it some name. Let me give it STM32 Blink Trial. This project will be created in this location. And then simply click on generate over here again. So this option is right over here behind this camera. For some reason, I'm not able to move this camera window from my screen recorder. That's okay. Generate. On a Windows computer, if you click on open project here, it will directly open the STM32 CubeIDE. On my Mac, I'm having some issues, so it's not opening automatically. Nevertheless, you can open it with CubeIDE now. So I'll click on the STM32 CubeIDE now. It will open the CubeIDE for me. And the first thing I'll do is I'll just delete any existing project that is there because that was my previous trial. So this is an open project. I will go and delete this. And now all you need to do is simply go to file, STM32 create/import. You don't want to create one, you want to import one because now you have created a project already using CubeMX. So import STM32 project, CubeMX. Next, here choose the directory which you have used or which you have selected. So I'll go to workspace 2.2, STM32 Blink Trial. That's my workspace, and open. Finish. Now this opens up the whole project over here for us. Now if you see in the core, there are a lot of files included. What we are interested most is in the src folder. Go to the main.c. Since we are starting up, since we are just doing it for the first time, don't worry about anything else. Just follow through the instructions and check the output first. Slowly and gradually, you will understand everything. I'm not going to explain all the functions right now. I'll just go into void main and then right over here, while 1. Now in the CubeMX, there is a specific name used for the LED pin. It's called LD2 pin or LD2 port. That's all I have to refer over here, and I can blink this LED the way I want. Let me go to my presentation. I'll just copy one of the functions from here. And that function is this. So I'll toggle pin. Okay, it's coming in as 2 lines. LD2 GPIO port, comma, LD2 underscore pin, and then HAL underscore delay, and then I want to give it, let's say, 1500 millisecond delay. So this function will toggle the pin with a delay of 1500 millisecond. If you can see the board right now over here, you will see the LED is blinking quite fast. That's all I will make changes about. So this pin should be toggled every 1500 milliseconds. Then identify this button over here, run STM32 blink trial. Click on that button. It will show a window. If you are using Nucleo board, you don't have to do much trial or much experimentation over here. The debugger already should be selected as ST-Link GDB server. No changes anywhere. If it is not selected, if it is the first time that you are using it, then please select ST-Link GDB server. That's all you have to do, nothing else. And simply click on OK. You will see this LED over here blink fast, and then the statuses comes over here, shutting down, exit, and observe the LED closely this time. It's now blinking with a delay of 1500 milliseconds. Let me make another change quickly, 500 milliseconds, so that you can check it live directly. Now the LED is blinking with a delay of 500 milliseconds. So that is how you get started with this project. Don't forget to download the CubeMX and the STM32 CubeIDE separately. You need both of these tools in order to work with the STM32 Nucleo board. So get started with this kind of experimentations, and then we'll deep dive into understanding all the different functions of STM32 and interfacing them with a wide variety of sensors. Thank you for watching this video.